Welcome back to Booze Briefs. I'm Matt.
I'm Derek.
And we got another episode today that hopefully helps the newcomers to either bourbon or whiskey or rye or really anything in the brown liquor region, except for like Cavassier and stuff like that.
I was like, there are no cognac reviews here.
We haven't done that. Maybe that's something we throw in at some point. I don't know much about it, so it may be fun.
Sure.
But not in this episode. So
yeah,
what we're going to do, and we saw something online where if you had X amount of money to start your collection, what would you do? Right. So we set the mark at $250.
Yeah.
And
we've seen some other folks who've done it at like 400, 500, even as low as 100, but we're like 250 feels like a good spot where you can get several bottles.
Oh yeah.
And have a good bar with some good variety.
And have a little bit of everything, right? You can have some, not showstoppers, but you can have some good bottles where you want a single pour, or you can have something that's an everyday, and you can also get yourself a really good rye and keep it in that mark. So what we did was each of us picked 3 bottles.
Yep. And
we had $125 to spend. So I took this challenge very seriously. I looked at my collection today and I was like, if I was going to spend $125 a day, and get something that I would want and would satisfy those categories, what would it be? And I looked around my collection and I'm like, man, I don't have any of those things. I've got the off-the-wall stuff. I've got the single barrels. I've got, and random things.
Yeah, and I did the same thing, and I had to keep in mind of these aren't what I think are necessarily like my favorite bottles for these prices.
Exactly right.
But we're talking to those of you who may be new to bourbon and whiskey. You're not going to want, for the most part, like the full proof stuff, because that's going to just set you on fire. And it may turn you off of exploring more whiskey. So
exactly right.
Like the $17.92 full proof is $45 around here. That's a hell of a value, but I would hate that if I was new to bourbon.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely hate it, because it's like 132 proof and it's just going to blow you up.
Oh, it's going to burn your taste buds.
So I intentionally chose some lower proof things. One bottle is representative of something else, but yeah, we each spent no more than $125 retail.
So I did on the way here. I went to the liquor store. Like I literally have a brown bag sitting next to me.
You are committed, sir.
And I have the receipt, and with tax, I spent $132. So it's as close as I could get it to it. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I know you guys out there, if you're watching this and you drink bourbons, what's $8 or $9 or $7
or what's $30 for a bottle of buck?
It's a good drain pour is all it is, right?
That's
so
fun.
Who wants to go first? You want to go first? You want me to? How do you want to do it? You want to do just our regular bourbon and then do our rye and then do our good bottle?
That works for me.
All right, perfect. So I'll let you pull first.
Okay, so my regular bourbon went with, ignore the fact that this is a store pick, Woodford Reserve. I think it is just really reliable, really available, and very approachable bourbon. And I think retail on it is, I said $35.
Yeah. And it's probably I know it is my favorite bourbon to make a cocktail with.
Yeah, it's great in an old fashioned. It's great neat. There's a range of flavors. The proof on it, I think it's 45%, so 90 proof. So not too hot, but you get a little bit more flavor with that little bit higher proof in it. Just a really good range of flavors in Woodford. It's got a good texture to it. It's just really, really consistent, good, and available everywhere without having to hunt for it.
I think on their website, they actually said that there's like 220 different flavors in that. I remember doing that review and we were like, holy shit, that's stupid.
Yes.
That is just stupid.
Yeah.
Someone sat there and they went through like a recipe book and they're like, yeah, there's probably blueberries in here. Yeah. Oh, yeah, parsnip. Some parsnip in here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's some cherries for sure.
Oh,
it's a big cherry.
Radish and watermelon radish. Got both of those.
Yeah, and rainbow chard. So that's your bourbon.
Go-to bourbon.
My go-to bourbon. Good old Maker's Mark. And you're not going to be disappointed. You know exactly what you get when you open that bottle. It's the same flavor. Unless, the only way you don't know if you're getting what you're getting is you're drinking Maker's 101 versus the Antique 107, which we did that blind. Hopefully you already saw that video. If not, I'm trying to put it up here at the top. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and both of those are winners, but you'll have to watch that video to find out. So, makers, they do a good job. It's 45%. It's not going to burn you out. It makes a good cocktail too. This is how I got started into bourbon.
Sure, plenty of people did too. And the fact that it's a wheated bourbon, damn it, wheated bourbon.
Wheated bourbon.
Like it just softens the edges a little bit more.
Yep. And I think 9 out of 10 people don't know that it's wheated.
I'm sorry, what?
Wheated. Yes. And that's what makes makers fun to me.
Yeah.
I love that juice. That's good stuff.
This looks nice on your bar. Like their wax is the opposite of Knob Creek's wax, which theirs is a pain in the ass.
Yep.
This looks nice. It peels off easy. Woodford's always in a nice looking bottle. And these are two things too that if you have a guest over and you're like, oh, I only have a couple bourbons to choose from, no one's going to be disappointed with either of these.
And they all know that.
Right.
Everyone knows these two bottles right here.
Yeah.
They know the big thin bottle and they know the red wax.
Yep.
So I was perfectly happy putting that in there. That was the first thing that came to mind. When we did the list, I was like, oh, hell yeah, that one's going in.
Yeah, I was looking through and I saw in my cabinet, I was like, all right, I have Woodford. I see the rye. That's not the rye I want. I was like, and I was going to use that as a representation of Woodford and say this is this. But then I was like, oh, I did have the store pick that's a 1 liter bottle.
That's, yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. So let's move on. Go to the rye next.
Yeah, I'll do the rye.
All right.
So we've been talking about proof a bunch, and this one's a little bit higher proof than others, but I don't think it drinks that hot. Wild Turkey 101 rye.
With the new bottle.
I almost picked the Wild Turkey 101 as my regular bourbon.
That's why I didn't, because I thought you were going to do it.
Because I think the 101 bourbon comes across to me a little hotter than the rye does.
I agree.
The other problem I had was if I chose the 101 bourbon, the other ryes I have that I like are higher proof.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this, to me, I enjoy this one more than like the Elijah Craig rye. So,
100%, yes.
And Sazerac's hard to get. Rittenhouse, depending on where you live, may be hard to get. And Rittenhouse is the same price and same proof, and I like this better. Because when we talked about this list, again, it's not just like what we like the most. It's how are you going to start your bar? And you don't want to start your bourbon collection by having to go all over creation to find bottles.
You should be able to get I think actually you can get any one of our bottles that we picked in one shop.
Yeah, at most shops. Like, obviously it may vary. Some things may just be out of stock, but like, you're not going to have to stand in line to get any of these.
If you do,
yeah.
You got issues.
So the 101 rye, it's damn good. It retails for $25 around here.
It's crazy.
And it's not a high rye. So I think it's in that like 50-ish, like 51% rye where it can be called rye. Because sometimes that rye spice people talk about, it may be a little aggressive if you're new. So that's why I wanted to choose something that's a lower rye profile and not like the 95.5 stuff from MGP that I love, but may not have appealed to me a few years ago.
So that one there, and I think the reason that one drinks not as hot is because it's not as high in rye, and it backs with like a little bit of sweet bourbon behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the sweet whiskey behind it. I think that to me is why it doesn't drink as crazy, because it should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Perfect.
It's good.
So mine, speaking of annoying wax, I went with the knob rye. And if you look at this, look at that. They may have done something different.
That looks different, and that's a thicker like pull on it.
It's much thicker. I think they redid it. It looks a little bit rebranded. And if you feel the bottle,
I said the bottle looks a little bit
concave on the back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Some new marketing, some new bottling.
I think I heard that the Knob Creek bottles before had a big problem with breaking more frequently than other bottles. Like there was a weak point at the bottom or something.
Well, that's a stout bottle. It's 100 proof. This is good stuff here. I really enjoy the Knob Creek Rye. I hadn't had it in a while, and I went and I looked through my stuff, and I came to the same problem that you did. Like the ryes that I have, because that's what I enjoy the most. I had a ton of them, but they're not starters.
No,
it's something where you have to work your way up to what we have in our collections now. And I had Elijah Craig Rye.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my stuff. I love that. I was like, I like that better. I like the knob better.
Yeah, the Elijah Craig Rye is fine. But there's just nothing really all that interesting to it.
It's a good second pour.
Mm-hmm.
Where I would pour the knob first. I would pour that as my first drink. I think that's
like
perfectly acceptable. Hey now,
you said Dick'll Trickle earlier. Everything is on board.
That is true. That is true.
What's the proof on that one?
100.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, 100 proof. And then let's see if we got a. I don't think there's any kind of.
Was there something at the bottom? No, that's just some award shit.
2016 gold, world's best rye. Yeah, there's no. They give the carbohydrates of 0.0 grams.
Oh, that's good.
122 calories in 1.5 ounces. Just in case anybody's counting calories.
You know, the calorie count was also on the back of one of these others.
Yeah.
Oh, the Dick'll. I wonder if that's a new thing.
Maybe.
111 calories per serving on this one.
Well, there you go. So that was my pick for rye. I don't think you can go wrong with it. I've seen it in every store that I've gone into.
Yep.
And that one was, this was $33. This was.
You've got the receipt.
Oh, yeah, I do have the receipt.
Don't guess on it.
Yeah. So the Maker's was $33.95. The knob was $39.95.
Okay.
So it kind of escalates a little bit from there, but you know.
And here are some other reasons that, like, I think, I don't want to speak for Matt, but like why I picked what I did. If you end up loving this, you can go seek out the rare breed rye.
Yeah.
And then you can compare those, and it's a nice difference. The Woodford, they make a rye, they make a malt, they make store picks that you can go get. So you can explore those a little bit. Makers, tons of varieties there. Knob Creek Rye, if you like that. They do a twice barreled, they do a quarter cask.
Single barrel. I had one from 2009. Yeah. I think it was a 10-year rye is the one that I got from 2009.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yep. So you can start with these and then go you can go down rabbit holes if you want to.
Yep.
You want to do your last one first? Or you
Sure.
Want me to?
Yeah, okay. I can. So I would. This bottle to me is cool. It's got a little gimmick along with it, and I would almost. Actually, I would put it up against Blanton's.
If only we had some Blantons to do that, Matt.
Blade and Bow. $49.95.
Mm-hmm.
It's in every store.
Yep.
It's people like Blanton's because it's got that cool bottle. I think the Blade and Bow bottle is just as cool.
It's a cool bottle.
It comes with the key. You collect the keys if you want to do that. Everybody collects the toppers for Blanton's, right? So this is a more readily available to me Blanton's.
Empty bottles of Blanton's are going for $30 on eBay.
Well, I've got 3 at the house if anybody wants to hit me up. And it's Stitzel Weller. It's good juice. Like I bought it.
Well, there's like a beep of Stitzel Weller in there.
Wait, you are.
The original Stitzel Weller.
It's bottled. It's bottled by them.
Well, yeah.
It says it on the label. That means it's them. It's 45.5%, 91 proof. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy it. I thought I had a bottle, and I was like, "That's my bottle." And I went and looked, and I'm like, "Oh no, I finished it."
Well, I gotta fix that.
I was like, "Huh?" So I gotta stop at the liquor store. So we gotta film a little bit later.
Yeah. So I recently bought a bottle of that, and I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was very good. It's not one I'm gonna run out and get again, but I'm sure I'll buy it again at some point.
Oh yeah, no, it's everybody has their preferences.
Yep.
And that's why you don't have to have just one bottle in your collection.
Yeah.
I don't have one bottle.
No, you don't. I don't either. So this last one for me, much like I'm a Maker's honk, like Maker's Wild Turkey and Brown Foreman, they're my speed. So this, I picked the 1920, but it's meant to be the 1910. I am out of 1910 at the moment, which is a problem that I need to fix. Mm-hmm. And the reason I picked 10 over 20 for someone new to bourbon is, one, it's 93 proof, I think, instead of 115. Because this could be pretty damn hot. And two, the 1910 is done in that like super charred barrel. Mm-hmm. So you're getting a very different experience than you are with this. Like Woodford Double Oak would be a good pick, but I didn't want the same brand as this.
So I was going to pick, it was this or that. Yeah. And I only had single barrel Double Oak. And I'm like, then I was going to pick a bottle up. And I'm like, that's really good. And I was like, I think Derek's going to pick that. Like, I legit thought that. And I'm like, I got to keep it separate. But It was a toss-up.
It's a fair thought. So yeah, I love the 1910 and the 20. You can mix them 50-50, let it sit for a little while.
1915.
It's good.
Yeah, it is good.
But it's like, it's that charred, like chewy, fudgy. It's a real like dessert bourbon, I would say. So it's good with ice cream. It's good in place of ice cream.
On ice cream.
I haven't done that yet.
Really good on top of ice cream.
Yes, I bet it would. And this one is probably the hardest to find of all 6 that's up here.
I would agree.
But most places you can find it most days. And 1910, it goes for I forget if it's 55 or 60, but it's right in that range. So I assumed it was like 60, 25, 35. So I'm at $120.
Yeah.
My 3.
Might went over just a little bit, but
that was tax.
Tax will get you.
That was the government.
Tax will get you, yeah, because without tax, my bottles were $123.85.
See? There you go. You did your job.
Yep. It only took me going back to, the liquor depot.
So these are our 6. This is with tax, right around $250. You've got a damn good start to your whiskey collection.
Did you also notice that we put them in height order?
How about that?
Unintentionally?
How about that?
Yeah. So what would you do with your $250? We'd love to hear. Somebody comes to you and hands you $250 and you're standing outside of a liquor store. What are you going to get?
And keep in mind, to start a collection, not just go buy 2 bangers.
To start, yeah. Your 6 bottles to start a collection. What would it be? I'd love to hear what somebody out there picks because maybe it's something that we need to try.
Yeah, and
something...
if we haven't tried it, we'll buy it if we can, and we'll review it and give you our thoughts. Yeah, cut that.
All right, perfect. Well, I love it. I'm happy with the picks. That's good. I mean, I told you we were on the same wavelength.
Yes.
With a lot of bottles.
Yep.
But you can't go wrong with any of these.
No.
And it wouldn't be hard to restock. And if someone walked into your house, everybody's going to know, with the exception of maybe these 2. Everybody knows this stuff.
Oh, yeah. And people who know bourbon at least a little bit know these on the ends.
Yep.
And they like them.
Yeah, that's true. So
they're not polarizing bottles.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But yeah, leave some comments. Let us know what you would start your collection with for $250.
$250.
And subscribe, hit the like button, do all those some things. I can't cheers because I'm out of bourbon in my glasses.
I got un poquito.
Huh?
That means a little bit.
Yeah. Cheers.
Until the next time, cheers.